Hey, what's up everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I feel a lot better, a whole lot better. I had a little bit of a bad morning as far as physically. I wasn't myself, and I told you guys all about that. But a bit later on in the day, as it started to cool off, I just took a little moment to myself. As I told you, I need to pray. And I was like, Lord, I just need some time to pray. My phone was at 19%. I put it on the charger, and I laid down, and I realized, yo, I am not happy with this laying down nonsense. I'm really not. And it was one of those situations where I just got into my little prayer zone. And I was telling the Lord all the stuff that I was thinking, telling him what I wanted, telling him what I wasn't pleased with in regards to myself. And maybe a good 3 minutes into the prayer, I was compelled to get on the floor and stretch. And so once I did that, I got back up after that stretch, laid back down, did a little more praying. And then I felt myself feeling compelled to start my squat regimen. And I was like, I don't know if I feel like doing this. I'm not quite there yet. Mentally, I'm not. Physically, I'm not feeling it, but I want to do it. I'm guilt tripping myself. I was going through the motions. And I just grabbed the weights and did them. And just completed them right now. And I feel pretty good, man. I'm almost 100, pretty much 100% now, as I knew I would, because I always do. All you really need to do most of the time is sweat out whatever's in there. If you're sick or if you're feeling something, fitness is always gonna make you feel better. And so I felt like I owe all of that to the Holy Spirit. Honestly, I didn't compel myself at all. It was not until I got into that prayer zone that ultimately I felt like I was strong enough to do any of that. My body wasn't feeling it today, and I knew it. But right now I'm waiting on my rice to cook. Figured I'd make another meal out of the situation, and just try to put something on the body that I can deal with. So rice and lettuce and meat and all that stuff I'll be eating. But yeah, man, I just want to let y'all know that I'm feeling a lot better, and I did compel myself to finally do some working out. And it's one of those situations where it's like I look in the mirror and I'm pleased with what I see, and I'm not quite one of those people that like to show off, so you guys never really see what I look like, but I'll show you now. Been working on my body for a while now, man, and at the end of the day, at 39 years of age, it's a blessing to look like this when you can spend your life off not being healthy, being chubby, you saw the pictures, y'all know what it was. I just wasn't a healthy person starting my life, but what it did do is allow me to be later in life without any injuries. Structurally, I'm in a position to where I can do 1,000 squats at 39 years of age, where a lot of people my age, they've had football injuries. If they were doing football in high school, basketball and that stuff, their bodies can't do it. And so I just feel fortunate enough to where there's nothing structurally wrong with me. I've been blessed with a good back, good knees all my life. I just needed to work them out, and I just needed to put the right food in my body. So when I tell people that, I'm working from a position of where I know two extremes, that's what I'm telling you. I know two extremes. I know how it feels to be extremely unhealthy and barely being able to climb the steps, and I know how it feels to be in shape. But even when you're in shape, it takes a lot to get up when you're older. You know what I mean? Even when you're in shape, that doesn't translate to you being able to run all over the block all the time. It just doesn't. But it really helps if you eat the right foods, and that's what I've been disciplining myself against. This isn't the hardest I've ever worked out, but it is the best I've ever looked because of the difference in food. When I was 22, I was pushing harder weights, doing harder sit-ups. My stomach should be 10 times stronger than it is right now based on how I used to lift as a youngin. I remember I told y'all I got on the floor and did 1,000 sit-ups one night when I was drunk and high. I was stoned high and alone with my headphones on. And I had been working on my abs for a long time. At that point, it was like maybe a year and a half in. But I had never done that much. The most I'd probably ever done was like 200 or something like that. But there's always these days when my body just goes completely haywire physically and allows me to do 20 times more than I ever had, and then never can do that again. Just like I told y'all when I jogged that time, I went to Bally's around that same era and jogged for like an hour, a whole hour. And I don't train for marathons. I ain't never run a marathon. The longest I had ever jogged was probably like 20 minutes. And then my body that one day just let me just run all throughout the whole workout while my homie was working out, getting a quick workout in. I jogged the entire time. and I just didn't know how my body allowed me to do it. Never could do it again, but it's just one of those situations where it's like, I believe I was blessed with solid genetics as it pertains to athleticism. I just never got a chance to explore it as a child. But as an older man, I can kind of at least get in decent shape. So I am proud of myself. That's why I try to guilt trip myself into working out so that I don't lose what I put together. A lot of what it is that you saw in the mirror was from heavy weights that I no longer have. So it's like I'm really worried about not being able to maintain that. But at the same time, it's like there are other things you can do to keep yourself sharp. There are other things you can do. Like push-up regimen that I tell y'all I do every time I use the restroom. I do push-ups. It's habit now. And at this point, I'm doing like 40 and 45 every time I get down there. So, those habits I try to weigh against not having those heavy weights. And of course, I told you I've been doing the suitcase lifting as well. I did like 6 sets of 25 this morning. Even though I took a lot of stuff out of that suitcase and it was much lighter, I just upped the reps from where I was at 20 to 25 to make up the difference. So I did about 6 sets of those this morning when I wasn't feeling good, and then turned around and did my regular squat regimen right now. So, I was once told all of the strength is really in your legs. A lot of people think it's in your upper body, but what really gives you the power to be as strong as ultimately you want to be is balance and strength of the core, and ultimately strength in your legs. Your upper body will follow in a lot of cases. So that's what I'm learning, man. I'm not a personal trainer or anything like that, but I just am dedicated at this point to never looking or feeling like I did when I was a young kid. It caused me a lot of turmoil, mental turmoil, a lot of sadness was attached to my appearance. So now that I'm older, it's like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to allow myself to go back down that road. So that's what you're seeing here, is somebody who got off to a horrible start in life physically, got off to a bad start in life mentally, but is trying to turn it around. And I hope that it can translate into my finances too, because at the end of the day, I can't seem to put it all together. You know what I mean? When I had the most money, I ain't looking the best, and it's just, it never quite come together. But that's one of the only times I'll probably let people see me with my shirt off, because I really am a stickler for not doing that at this age. To be honest with you, I don't care how sharp I look. It just seems immature to be trying to be an underwear model at 39 years of age. It just don't seem right to me. But at the same time, I am proud of the work I've put in, and am dedicated to continue putting in that work. And hopefully when my wife comes around, she will get the best of that from me. But it's not for everybody to see. Just because you're in shape doesn't mean you got to show it off. And it's not like I'm super, I'm not. There are people in much better shape than me, but I think at the end of the day, I'm still working on myself, and I'm in a space where I can say I'm comfortable taking my shirt off, maybe for the first time in my life. And so that's a big deal. It's a really big deal, especially this late in life. And when I think about a young man who passed away, my boy Jose Borges, I don't know that he was much different in age than me. He lost his life. I don't know how he lost his life, but it just goes to show that you have to appreciate what you have, the moment you have. You got to appreciate your body, take care of your temple, take care of your mental health, take care of what you can take care of, and most importantly, try to leave a good lasting impression on others that will allow them to think highly of you throughout, whether you're here with us or not. I have a lot of good things to say about Jose. And it's because he left a lasting impression of positivity upon my life in a time when I really was down. Back in high school, I wasn't doing well. I was very insecure, very unhappy, and he was one of the friends around there that kept me feeling good about coming to school the few times that I actually would go. So I'm still kind of down about his passing, even though I'm not going to fake it like I was close to him in these eras. I wasn't, but it didn't matter, because when somebody leaves a lasting impression on you and you remember who they are, it don't really change, you know what I mean, how ultimately you feel about them and their well-being. So yeah, man, that's what's on my heart right now. Just still thinking about my high school buddy there, Jose, and it just is what it is. I think when you consider he's my age, that's what I'm kind of working with. I'm trying to survive. You know what I mean? Even though I know I got a lot of health things to consider, But at the same time, it's like, I want to get a full life out of this thing if I can manage to stick through these difficult times and not jump off a roof, as I always joke about. But like, if I can survive it, I want to get a full life out of this. I want to be able to live to see my grandkids, and I don't even have kids yet. So that means I got to make it to 90 or something like that. So as far as I can tell, those who do, they take care of themselves in these eras. They eat well. You know, I look at my great grandmother Blanche. She ate well. She worked out and not worked out, but she was always in the garden, even in her late life. You know, later in life, she was still doing things that ultimately promote life within her body, and that stuck with me. That stuck with me because I know I'm made of what she's made of. You know what I mean? So when I consider what I can endure physically and whether or not I can make it, I look at her genetics, my great grandmother, and I'm like, yeah, I should be able to push myself. I should be able to make a good life out of this. I should be able to eat healthy and respond well to those foods. And you know, I'm telling y'all something else too. I want to pass good genetics to my kids. I don't want them to have some of the bad metabolism issues that I've had. Now, I don't know the science behind that, if you can change your DNA or not, but it seems to me that that's exactly how it works. When you consider people who play basketball, all of a sudden their kids turn out to be massive, great basketball players or athletes and all that. Where does that begin? It begins with somebody in their lifetime doing those things, doing them, making them a part of your everyday routine, and they become a part of your DNA, and you pass that DNA to your kids. So as far as I can tell, that should be possible. That should be possible. I don't know if there's a science to that, but it seems to me it is. And so that's also what I'm thinking about. I don't want to pass some horrible first half of my life type of habits to my kids. The bad eating, the bad metabolism, fat being put on your body with absolute ease and taking so long to get off of it. I don't want nothing to do with that. I don't want my kids having nothing to do with that. So that's why I'm trying to put in the right habits right now to put them hopefully in a position to have a leg up on stuff like that. So I don't know if it works that way, but I think it does. And because of it, that's what I also think about when I'm trying to establish these habits. So, you know what I mean? That's what it is. I hope to motivate, man. I'm not sitting up here trying to make people feel worse when I flash myself in the mirror. That's why I don't do it. It's not a sexy thing. I'm not trying to get people going. Nah, none of that. I'm not gay. Y'all know that. So none of that. It's just about letting people understand that I am proud of what I put together, and I have been talking about how myself is in shape, and that's it. That's all that's about. So, you know what I mean? Positive vibes to everybody, man. Good energy out to Jose. You know what I'm saying? And I believe in everybody. The ability to overcome some of these cultures that we're involved in that have us eating poorly and not working out and wasting hours sitting down watching something. You know what I mean? TV just, and your body just gets worse. You put bad food in your stomach and you're sitting, and that's culture, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. I'm telling you, I grew up that way, loved doing that stuff, and I know now that it doesn't work for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, not to say that everybody should turn off the TV and start doing what I'm doing, but wean off of that stuff and know what benefit comes from it. What benefit comes from putting in extra work, what benefit comes from eating these bland foods or whatever it is. It's a longer life, hopefully a healthier life, and ultimately, hopefully, a healthier path forward to your genetics as they go forward. So that's what it's about, man. Willing ourselves toward a better way of doing things. I felt like I saw something on some type of meme today that really stuck with me. It was saying along the lines of, I think it was actually somebody's post. They said, you know, I thought the Lord had taken everything from me, but what he did was actually give me an opportunity to start over better. And that's kind of where I'm at. 4 bags. That's all I have. And I'm happy about it because I don't carry a whole lot of baggage from where I was coming from. I don't carry a whole lot of baggage from my life. Granted, there are more than 4 bags because I got a couple stuff in my friends' storage, but the point is, it's not a whole lot to me right now. I'm in a humble space where I don't have a lot, but what I can say is I'm free. While I was doing art yesterday, it dawned on me that I'm free. I didn't feel free at any point in time in my life. I always felt confined by my mind, confined by my understandings, confined by my ignorance or what have you, stuff that would keep me in place. But, you know, it's one of those things where it's like my mind was telling me it's almost time for a journey. It's almost time to leave Los Angeles and go wherever and get used to seeing things that I've never seen before. That's what being on this side of town has ultimately done for me. Even though I'm from Hollywood and spent time in North Hollywood, there were streets that I've walked down in this era that I've never been down. Stuff that I've never seen, and that is not normal for me because I'm always somewhere familiar. So, building my way out of this thing, starting the process of trying to work to eat, work to live. I don't like that living for myself. I don't like the 9 to 5. And I want the Lord to put me in a position to take all these different things that I'm doing, this channel and all this stuff we always talk about, BDF 44 as a whole, and start to raise awareness. So, and start to really put myself in a position to have an actual brand and not just me kind of just touch and go with everything I'm doing, not making no money and being cool with that. Money is not my God. In fact, if it were up to me, capitalism would probably be evolved into something much, much more fair than what it is that we're doing, much more detailed in how people receive their resources. You know what I mean? More intent on making it so that people get what it is that ultimately makes them their best. It shouldn't be you trying to reach for success in order to be able to make it. Nah, everybody should be able to make it because everybody can contribute to some degree, but it just seems to me that our system we accept, but that system is flawed, and you're going to see it fall apart, as we often talk about. With that stock market, they're going to destroy capitalism with that. That's what they're doing. They've busted it open by naked short selling, as we've been talking about constantly. But that's really what it is. It's the end of capitalism, man. Because capitalism is about the structure of things and piling up money and making sure you have enough while working hard and working against somebody else who ultimately may not work as hard and be more successful than them. But if you can make that money manifest out of nothing, and you can just duplicate shares and then sell them and people keep buying them to no end, then obviously you're in a position to bust capitalism up and basically cheat the game. And that is exactly what happens there. So it's like, I don't think capitalism has much longer to live, to be honest with you. I think we're going to have to find another way to do it. And I think it's going to be a lot better when we do. But who knows? Who knows what's really coming. But I can tell you this. I felt like the enemy has been attacking me on all fronts today. All fronts. From the FUD to the loss of my homie, to my body not feeling good, to just not being able to get things done with getting away from T-Mobile, for which I'm still on their airwaves, much to my chagrin, to, talking to the Babcock and Associates people and them telling me basically that they didn't even know I was gone. All of these different things that was just supposed to wear my spirit down. And I'm telling you, by the end of this day, right now, devil lost. I got my squat regimen going. I feel better than I ever did earlier today, that is. So, that's what it's about, man. We're going to win these battles. I don't want you to quit. It's the same thing I was telling Karen today, speaking life into her and trying to give her all the positivity I could possibly give her. Because at the end of the day, the devil is working hard to make you feel like you're far away from anything worth having. Make you feel like you need to quit in order to find relief. But the reality is, a lot of times when that is the case, it's because there's something great coming around the corner. A lot of times when that's the case, it's because he wants you to think that he's not losing when he's actually on his last leg. And that's the devil and every entity that acts like him. And so that's why I always tell people it's not hard to tell devilish energy. It's not hard to tell who's who in this regard, because they always behave along the same frequency. They're going to be folly. They're going to be making fun of you. They're going to do stuff that doesn't make any sense, that reflects poorly on them. They're going to try to hide behind what is not, saying that they don't exist, or saying whatever it is that you see it's not real. They're going to tell you crazy. You know what I mean? They're going to make you feel like what you're looking at is not what you see. But at the end of the day, because they do that, you'll always know them. You'll always know them. That's why I know the hedge funds are strictly devilish. I wouldn't doubt that they're a bunch of devil worshippers, because they behave just like Satan. And so I'm telling y'all, man, don't give up. If you're an AMC ape, today was a tough day for us. But we will not give up, because we know what we're up against and we know what side we're on. We're fighting in the name of goodness. We're fighting in the name of fairness. We're fighting in the name of ending poverty. We're fighting in the name of being able to have a real stock market that actually allows ourselves, our children, our grandchildren to take their hard-earned money and put it somewhere where it can actually benefit them. These people are trying to take it and put it in their own pockets so they can have basically total world domination. The problem is they're not working into the equation the God variable. they're not working into that equation, the God variable. They are assuming God doesn't exist, and they're moving forward with their plans, and that is a grave mistake, because he actually does. And that's the part where they know they're going to fail. For those of them who are warring with God instead of just non-believers, they know they're going to fail, and they're trying to drag as many people with them as possible. But never forget, they're going to act like they're not there. They're going to act like what you see ain't what you see. They're going to act like what you're doing ain't worth it. They're going to laugh at you. They're going to do everything they can to throw psychological drama and trauma at you. And if you're not spiritually inclined, you will be worn down by what it is that they're doing, because that is what the devil does. He wears down those who are not of God, but he can't wear down those who are. And that's the point. He can attack, but the truth will never sway. He's already lost. And because he's already lost, you've already won. So long as you stand on the other side of him, you're good. And that's the point. So don't allow any uncertainty, any doubt. Inner demons work the same way. They're going to act like they're not there. They're going to make you feel like everything that's luring you toward it is good for you. It's not. They're going to have you feeling like you can't overcome these inner urges that ultimately have you betraying your wife, betraying your business, betraying your own reputation. It's lies. They're all lies. None of that's necessary. A good prayer gets you out of that. Just like a good prayer got me out of that bed and into this workout situation, a good prayer gets you out of that circumstance and have you controlling what it is you need to control to keep your life together, keep your soul intact, keep yourself out of hell. And that's all it's about. That's all it's about. A lot of people are foregoing all of their eternity for an opportunity at a fleshy life that only lasts probably 70 years. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Ain't nothing on this planet worth your soul. Ain't nothing on this planet worth throwing away your eternity. I promise you that is bad math. That is bad math. And there are a lot of people, a whole lot of people who are engaging in that nonsense, not considering that, because they are assuming the God variable isn't real. And that is, once again, a grave mistake. And this is not coming from somebody who's thinking or wondering, no, God has proven himself to me a million times, which is why I walk in this type of faith, which is why I speak the way I do, because I'm not wondering if God is existing. He's already proven that to me. And he's willing to prove it to you. But he'll do it on his own time, man. Not everybody's meant to do the same thing. I'm meant to help people understand he exists. Maybe that's not your job. Maybe that's not your plan. Maybe that's not the path he has you on. Maybe it takes a little more for you to know he exists. Maybe you need to go through your own path before you get to that point. But remember what I'm saying. There are a lot of people on the other side of different circumstances who do not believe in God, and they are mistaken. And if they knew of the God variable, it would change their entire world. And then there are others who know of him as well as I do, and they're just at war with him. Sometimes it's hard to tell who's who. But at the end of the day, if they're on the wrong side, they're going down. Salvation exists. You can always turn back around. You can turn back around. He'll always let you back on his side. But you got to understand, there are individuals who are going to keep you from thinking that that's a possibility as well. They're going to be people over there that are going to tell you all kinds of stuff about what isn't possible as it pertains to your salvation. But that's not true. That's not true. God is a merciful God. He'll always come back around. He may punish you. He may punish you bad. But there's never going to be an instance where he doesn't want more numbers on his side. So he's not going to push you over there. But you got to understand, luring energy, things that are going to lure you in, things that are going to cloud your mind, things that are going to make you feel like this is good for you. But you got to be able to see past that evil. You got to be able to see past the lure so you can see the truth about what it is that's actually coming at you, what it is that you're actually fighting for, what it is that's ultimately going to come, or what it is that you're doing. And if you can't see past that because you're too busy caught up in that lure, you will fall with that enemy. So you got to know of the lure in order to overcome it. And that requires a faith that you cannot see in the midst of psychological nonsense that will be embedded on your head to keep you from seeing. You got to be able to get through that smoothly with your prayers intact. That's the only way through that fog. Faith is the only way through that fog. And if you're not allowing that God variable in, I promise you, you are in that fog. And you're going to feel like you should stay in that fog. That is what it's supposed to do. And you will take on those consequences just the same, because that's what it's meant to do to you. So that's what I want to share with people, man. Don't give up. Don't give up. Giving up is a sign that you want to go with the enemy in a lot of cases. And I know it gets hard. I feel like giving up. But I know the difference between being a loser and just being caught up in the understanding that the enemy is doing everything he can to scrape and claw and grasp for whatever the hell he can as he's falling. And he's going to take as many people down with him as humanly possible, and there's going to be a lot of them who are not going to be none the wiser. And they're going to fall with him, and they're going to think it's good all the way down until they get down there and realize there ain't nothing down there but him and his pain. And that is not a place you want to dwell for eternity. I promise you that. My name is BDF 44. I thank you all for watching. Out.